Hey everybody, it's Friday, I think. I'm Kevin Murcko, CEO here at CoinMetro. This is the thing we like to call, we made these up, AMA, Ask Me Anything. You ask, I tell. That's it, pretty much it. The show is really about the questions, not about the guy answering them. So when I get good questions, I hopefully can give good answers. When I get bad questions, then you can't blame me for giving bad answers. That's just the way it works. So it's all on you guys. You got to ask the good questions. I'm going to do my best to answer them. So I don't know why I have a pen in my hand because I'm not going to write anything. It's like old school news anchor. Have a pen in your hand? I don't know. I don't even know why I picked it up. Anyway, I have a pen in my hand, which means I'm serious. So let's get started. Uros made it first. Uros the seller. That's his nickname if nobody else knows. So anytime XCM goes down by even 1/4 cent, you know who won. Chris N came in with the silver, Deep Philippe with the bronze, Deep Philippe though with the first question. So gold on the question side, amazing. Actually, not a question. That is a question. There is a question. There's a question, then a statement. Hey Kevin, any biz dev to share with us? KYC seems to have improved in terms of speed. Great to see. Yep, our compliance department as well as people in support did an amazing job getting us caught up on onboardings, which is great. We also have this great little robot called Lisa who can now smash through. I think she did over 1,000 one day, but definitely hundreds of applications in seconds. Not all 100, but I mean, as they come in seconds, if they meet certain qualifications, they get automatically approved. Amazing. They also get automatically rejected, which means there's faster turnaround for people that may have submitted a blurry document or, a false name or happen to be Kim Jong-un. Not that we would ever onboard Kim Jong-un because we wouldn't, just in case you're a regulator listening to this conversation. KYC, yeah, so BizDev. As I mentioned before, BizDev, I can't say there is no BizDev because we're always talking, just had 2 conversations with 2 potential listings just last week, have had internal conversations about a lot of BizDev, basically building out features and resources that we can then potentially use with external parties. So there's always BizDev talk. But I do believe, as I said a month or 2 ago, that BizDev is going to accelerate in Q1 into Q2 next year. We have a lot of stuff that's going to happen between now and the end of Q1. We have licensing applications. We have fundraising that's going to start. At least the structure is going to start so that we can actually fundraise in September next year at a massive valuation that to make everybody happy. So there's lots of stuff going on. There's always BizDev, but there's no major external BizDev. We are talking, like I said, to different companies that we may list. So that is a bit of BizDev, that's for sure. Most of however, though, we're focusing on key things like, now the pen is somehow stuck to my finger. I don't know what I'm doing. Focusing on basically making sure that all the fundamentals are correct inside of our ecosystem so we can scale quicker. And you just mentioned a big one that we accomplished just recently. Congrats on implementing the KDA bridge. Where will there be a shit out of luck bridge? Oh no, sorry, that's Solana. Every time I see SOL, I think shit out of luck. Not that has anything to do with Solana. If you bought Solana, I'm not saying you're shit out of luck. I mean, you might be. Your boat may be sinking, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Well, we don't support Solana yet. To be honest, if we didn't support Kadena, if we didn't have a relationship with Kadena, and Kadena made a bridge, we might not support it right out of the box either. But the fact that we have that relationship, we don't have that relationship yet with Solana. I don't know if we ever will, because Solana is now big enough where they think they may not need that relationship. That doesn't mean that big companies don't see benefit in using the services of smaller companies. That's usually where you get M&A and buyouts and things like that. Usually you'll have a massive entity, a Google, that'll see some property and go, we could really use that. Or we hope they don't actually do this because it's going to take market share. Let's just buy it and kill it, one or the other. Usually in crypto, at least in our experience so far here at CoinMetro, my experience is that we need to attack when we see a gem in the rough, not when everybody already thinks it's a gem. And so that doesn't mean we won't support. I think the idea moving forward is we're going to focus a lot on being this gateway to DeFi, hybrid systems, gateway to DeFi, passive income. So more than likely, we will have lots of bridges, and at some point, probably through companies that don't even know who we are. And then eventually they would know who we are because we got big enough where they wouldn't have a choice not to know who we are. But we don't have any specific immediate plans to support the Solana bridge. Sorry, shit out of luck. I guess if you're hoping we support it tomorrow, you are essentially shit out of luck. Obviously, there are a lot of new clients right now. Good time to buy XCM. Hey, Hike the Mic. It's always a good time to buy XCM. You know, I could sing a song about it, but I don't think anybody wants to hear me sing. But, you know, if you're happy, buy XCM. If you're sad, buy XCM. If you're sick, buy XCM. If you're tall, buy XCM. If you're short, buy XCM. You know, if you need to lose some weight, XCM, perfect cure. You know, if your beard's too long, buy XCM. If your beard's too short, buy XCM. If your nose is too long, you definitely need XCM. If your nose is too short, buy XCM, maybe a bit of quant as well. I don't know. Anyway, I think there's never a wrong time to buy XCM. So I think our goal, or one of the things we need to do as a company, is to make sure that we make XCM something that people either need to buy when they interact with our systems or absolutely want to, because there's so many pieces of that utility matrix. There's so many things you can do. There's so much possibilities that it doesn't make sense not to buy it. And I think we've planted a lot of groundwork for that over the last 3.5, 4 years, and much more to come. So I think it's always a good time. Look, when you have an asset that indirectly or directly or in people's minds or whatever is tied to the growth and the potential growth of a company, there's not many assets that look like XCM on the market. There may be 10,000, 15,000 tokens. There's only a handful that are sitting in a position like XCM. And I think we've listed many of those, and we will continue to list assets like that. It takes some time to build up what you need to build up in order to see that quant moment, that KDA moment, that, whatever. That it doesn't necessarily take time. You can do it all quickly. We've always looked at ourselves more like between the Apple and Microsofts of the world, we're the Apple, meaning we want to try and do things. We might not be the quickest or the most innovative in what we do, but when we do it, we want to do it in a way that appeases our base, expands our base, and just separates us from the rest. And I think that's what we've been doing to date, and we're getting better at it. Scolby Lawsus. Scolby Lawsus. I don't know. You guys got to think of like easier to pronounce names, man. I'm horrible with names. Anyway, hi, boss. Hey, now if this person works for us, I'm really going to feel like an idiot, because not only couldn't I pronounce their name, but apparently I'm the boss. So have you had any interest from prospective public TRAM operators for TRAM 2.0? An established trader with a following coming to CM might bring a big crowd. I can't say yes or no to that. I get so many Telegram messages on a daily basis. Literally, I wake up in the morning, do this, Star Trek phone. When you get older, this shit like excites you for some reason. Anyway, so I wake up and I do this. I got like 9 million, Telegram messages. I try to figure out which ones I need to respond to. Then I forget. It's just something I like to do. It's a ritual. Point is that definitely I've talked to some managers, those that already trade on the platform and some that don't. I know for a fact that a more well-rounded program, Jesus, will absolutely bring more managers to the platform and will absolutely bring more investors. It is a passive, at the end of the day, TRAM is passive income, not for the manager, obviously, but for all the other people that use the system, which are investors. It is passive income. It's part of that passive income interface. Most people, the vast majority of people in the world you'll ever meet, and those you don't, will never be traders. They may think they are. They may label themselves as, I'm a crypto trader. That is, let me translate that for you. I'm a crypto trader means I bought something and it went up in price, and now everybody in my family thinks I'm intelligent. That's what crypto trader generally means. It doesn't mean they're sitting behind 19 different screens, using technical analysis and checking fundamentals all day on Bloomberg and staying, that's usually not what it means. There's a few of those guys, but they're few and far between. There might even be a few girls out there that do that now as well. When I was trading, man, if a woman trader was like a unicorn. Now I think it's more like, I don't know, like a zebra. There's lots more of them. not necessarily right within your purview. You can't see them out the window, so to speak, but they're around, Anyway, I'm going to get in trouble at some point. My point is to say is that TRAM will absolutely be a big product for us. We didn't put enough attention as we should have after the launch. There was always a kind of a beta launch, but we never really went back and tidied it up because we had so many other things to do. And when we do that, I think it's going to be amazing, and I do think it's going to be a massive revenue generator at CoinMetro. I also believe it's going to be an absolutely awesome addition to our passive income stable of products. So I don't know if I answered your question at all, but at least I think I did. Hey, Kevin, show me Qredo. Hoo me banana. Well, HHMB. That's what I'll call you from now on. HHMB. HHMB. I got to think of a good acronym for that aside from hoo me banana, which is the first one I think of, obviously. Show me Qredo. Okay, so I started talking to the Qredo guys about a year ago, maybe even more than that. They didn't have any clients at that time, I think. They weren't even launched yet. And I don't remember how we started talking, whether we met at an event, whether I knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody who walked one guy's dog once. I don't know. Somehow our paths crossed. And about 3 or 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, I had a conversation with Ledger. You guys know Ledger, the wallet. Yeah. Where I told them that they needed to look at non-custodial deposits. And the gentleman on the other side of the phone who told me that he had 37,563 years in traditional finance, knew everything there was to know about traditional finance, said, what? And I said, non-custodial deposits. You should give people the ability to trade funds on centralized exchanges or interact with centralized services without having to give their assets out of a wallet that they have control of. And they told me, well, why would anybody want to use that service? And so I hung up the phone because that question was just asinine and I was having a bad day. So my apologies if this guy from Ledger, I think his name was Rene. He was French though, so it's like Rene. Anyway, so Rene was on the line. Anyway, and I did hang up on him because, to be honest, that was ridiculous. Point is that traditional finance literally functions around non-custodial accounts, at least when you're, a big boy. And the whole point of operating in crypto is about access. It's about giving the services that are around for the big boys in traditional finance to all the small boys and girls that you don't really have access to those type of things. That's a great way to safeguard your money, don't you think? I mean, at the end of the day, there's so many regulations around retail safeguarding accounts. Make sure they're segregated. Make sure you have, whatever. To be honest, none of those rules and regulations help all that much from a unscrupulous company stealing your money. But there's so many rules and regulations around safeguarding the funds. Well, how about if we didn't even need to touch the funds? Wouldn't that be such a better solution? Anyway, Qredo does that. In fact, it was one of the first things that they decided to roll out on their platform is a version of non-custodial deposits. You as a client have a wallet on their layer 2, basically, what is this? Their signature solution, MPC, their MPC solution, basically like a layer 2. And our company has a wallet. You don't need to move funds to our wallet. They sit in your wallet. You can trade with us, and then we settle almost instantaneously after the trade is confirmed. That means we don't have your assets. That means if we get hacked or something happens to the exchange, or I decide I want to buy 645 Lambos, one in every color of somebody's rainbow, and then drive them into a wall, and then there's no money left, and I'm like, oh, sorry, you're all wrecked. Well, guess what? I can't do that because money never hits CoinMetro's accounts. Beautiful. So there's many other things Qredo does. You can think they are a custodian. They do lots of other things beside that. But that single thing makes them better than every other custodian that currently exists in the market, bar none. Plus, they have a token. Fuck's sake, man! How can you have a company that deals in crypto assets and not tokenize yourself? Firebox, hello. Bitco, what are you doing? I understand like back in the day, 14, 15, 16, 17, people were all concerned about if we tokenize, they're going to look at us differently. Yeah, they're going to look at you and say, that's a smart company. They just made a bunch of treasury out of thin air and their clients can now share in their success. That sounds pretty smart to me. Anyway, hey, Robin, happy Friday. Do you celebrate Thanksgiving in Estonia? No, we do not. Nothing to give thanks for in Estonia. Nothing. No, that is definitely a U.S. holiday. Actually, funny enough, I was just talking about this in the office. I'm just going to say this one because we haven't gotten to the point where you can't say this anymore. We'll get there though. Thanksgiving is probably one of the most ridiculous holidays on the face of the planet. You know, I think something around 70 million native, whether they were North Americans, let's say, and into some parts of what's now Central South America, but it's about 70 million people were killed either via disease, genocide, or the likes. And what we get out of that, you know, we killed most of those Thanksgiving people with smallpox because, you know, but nobody cares about those stories. We created a holiday about a supposed dinner that never happened with food that they didn't even have access to. So yeah, actually tomorrow is Native American Heritage Day. So probably makes a bit of sense if you sat down and ate some turkey yesterday, that today, this is today actually now, today that you sit down and kind of commemorate these 70 million people we killed collectively to eat turkey and get discounts the day after Thanksgiving. Yay, Black Friday. By the way, Black Friday, I said I wasn't going to mention it. There we go. Sorry. Philip, since my referrals ask me this more often, what investments would you recommend to a completely new customer on CoinMetro to build a somewhat diversified portfolio? Hey, Philip. I'm not going to give you the old, this is not investment advice, because saying that doesn't mean a thing. What I will say is that this is my opinion, and my opinion doesn't necessarily mean a thing. You can follow it if you like. That's on you. You cannot follow it and just call me a bald idiot, and that's fine. But everything, you know, obviously we've listed things in the past because we kind of have to list them. This is where the liquidity is. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, etc. Not that there's much liquidity in Bitcoin Cash, but we've listed those because they're considered to be majors. It's kind of like if we were listing stocks, you know, we would list all your blue chips. Doesn't mean we like them. It just means that, you know, lots of people trade them. But most of the other things we've listed, almost everything else we've listed, other than a few that we listed again because there was just a lot of requests for it, like Uniswap. I wouldn't necessarily put any money into Uniswap. In fact, I don't even understand how a governance token has a increasing value over time for many reasons. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole we don't necessarily want to go down today. Point is that I can tell you what I have in my portfolio on CoinMetro. I have an absolute fuck ton of XCM. So that's number one. I don't know what the actual literal definition of a fuck ton is, but if someone knows, you can definitely post that in the chat. Maybe I have less than a fuck ton. Maybe it's like a fuck metric ton. I don't know. It's a lot. I have a lot. For those of you that don't like swear words, I have a lot. Anyway, a lot of XCM. Outside of XCM, I have owned other assets that I've sold. That doesn't make it a bad asset, but currently in my portfolio, I have some Flux. I have Kadena. I have THT. I do have a bit of Luna, well, really small amount, but I do have some Luna. I have PRQ, quite a good amount of PRQ as well. What else do I have in my CoinMetro portfolio? I have not yet bought my Qredo, but that is one. I really do like what they're doing. I do believe that they're going to go places that other custodians aren't. And I think that's super important. I already gave you a little speech on why I shilled everybody Qredo, but I do like Qredo. What I would say is this: anything in crypto has the ability to move. You're not going to analyze a crypto asset like you would analyze a stock, like you would analyze, stocks really. There's really no other comparison. Why? Well, first of all, this market is more irrational than the stock market. Now, the stock market is pretty rational, but there is some rationale to its irrationality, if that makes any sense. In crypto, there's almost no rationality. The only rationale is this: everybody wants to make money, so people tend to hold. The more people that tend to hold, the less circulating supply. As long as people keep buying, price goes up. That is literally the modus operandi of crypto. It's very similar to the modus operandi of equities. The difference is that the equity market has a much bigger swing between institutional and, let's say, retail money. In fact, it's almost all retail money, because what is institutions? Institutions are pension funds, they're endowments. Where do they get their money? From people. And people who generally don't want to trade for themselves, which makes them retail. You can be retail with a lot of money, by the way. You can be a billionaire and still be retail. Just because you have a big pocketbook doesn't make you an institution. Anyway. So that's what I hold. I think what you should do your own research, like everybody always says. What does that really mean? Look at the community, look at the team, look at if the team really has any understanding of what they're doing, see how passionate they are. What have they done before this? You know, failure is not, in fact, having failure before you got to where you are now is not an issue at all. But, you know, if you see someone that started 15 businesses and spent a month trying to curate them and then gave up, that's not failure. That's cowardness. And that's not going to get someone anywhere in life. So, you know, but failing is not a problem. But look, you know, look at all those things. Try to make a decision based on what you see. Community is big in crypto. If the community rallies behind an asset, if people tend to go out without anybody telling them to and talk about an asset, if you see it on Twitter a lot, if that Twitter sentiment indicator on our dashboard shows that people are talking about it, that's already a great start. You don't need, you know, you can have a project that has great underlying protocol or a great underlying protocol if they have their mainnet, or great underlying tokenomics that generally doesn't even succeed in what they initially wanted to succeed in. But if the protocol or the tokenomics supply passive income, that can also be a winner. So do the Warren Buffett. I mentioned this a lot on the show, but be Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is not a trader. He does not know how to pick a top. He cannot pick a bottom. He's never bought a stock at the perfect time. What he's done is diversify into stocks that pay dividends. Simple as that. Over time, those dividends became 1x, 3x, 5x, 10x, 10x, 20x, 100x more than what he paid for the stock. That's it. Crypto's the same way, guys. Look for things that will provide you either now or in the future with passive income. Sit back. Imagine you buy a bunch of XCM right now at roughly 40 euro cents, and you're getting 5%. And by the way, that staking program is going to get massively more interesting soon. I haven't said soon in a long time. I just feel like saying soon. Anyway, let's just say it was just the 5%. Nothing else, no fringe benefits, nothing, just 5%. Now let's imagine that in the future, XCM is worth 100 euros. You're getting 5%. Let's say you had let's say you had 100,000 XCM and you're getting 5%, and you're getting 5,000 XCM. Now that at today would only be worth 2,000 euro. But at 100 euros, it's worth 50,000 euro. It's literally more than you paid for the whole stack, double, and you're getting it yearly in dividends. That's how you play the game. That's how you win the game. Winning the game in life is about passive income. You're never going to be able to work hard enough, long enough to make enough money to consider yourself wealthy. Never going to happen. No one's figured that one out yet. Hi, Kevin. What are your plans for your UAE trip? I shouldn't have said that in public. Hopefully I don't get shot when I'm coming off the plane. It's my anniversary, actually. So that's my plan. I'm not there long. Get there very early in the morning on Sunday. Leave early morning Tuesday. So I'm sure there's going to be some shopping involved. My wife's very good at that. And there'll probably be some beach involved. We're both pretty good at that, I guess. I mean, yeah, everybody's good at the beach. You just sit there. That's not that hard to do for most people, I hope. Not true about selling. They'll storm me with the stone punches. Yeah. It's not true. It's just everybody called Uros the seller back in the day, and then yeah, he got memed to death. But it's not actually true. Uros still has his XCM. I can verify that actually. Is the goal for passive income staking on all CM listed tokens an actual goal or just an idea to aim for? It sounds far too resource intensive. In fact, it's probably less resource intensive than almost any other service or product we can offer. The reason is that there are ways to get that done where we don't have to actually manage the infrastructure where the passive income is being derived. We simply manage the front end. We manage the experience for the client. Someone else is doing the other heavy lifting, which is the technical or I guess technical and/or kind of fiscal backends, which is either a lending or some type of protocol, and/or it's just protocol based nodes and master nodes, etc. So it's actually much less labor intensive than almost any other service we provide. And yes, it is not an idea. It is not a stretch goal, as they would say. That goal is definitely reachable, and it's something we absolutely want to do, 100%. And something like Vesper, for example, or the IQ protocol that Parsec has would get us there, because the Vesper, for example, you can create liquidity pools for any asset. And those liquidity pools create income. which means any asset we list, we can throw into a Vesper liquidity pool, for example. Shout out to Vesper, by the way, with their Orbit, I believe it's called their Orbit product. Then you have things like IQ protocol, which allow to make a lending product out of any asset. Again, another form of passive income. So definitely possible. Tom Timmerman said IQ protocol available for SEX Q1 22. Any news? Well, I think that's the news right there. So they know better than we do when the product's supposed to be ready. As soon as it is, all over it. Any new listings coming soon? We have a short, not so short list. So I do expect some. You gotta take into account that in 29 days or 30 days, we're going to be hitting right into the holiday extravaganza or whatever. So, you know, things will slow down a bit. I would say we may sneak something in December. We may sneak in. If we don't, January looks pretty good. Hey, Kev, can you spill any beans on this new XCM tokenomics? Not yet, but a big one's going to tie into that staking program, and it's massive. And you'll be hearing about that soon. Trademark. Happy Friday. Thanks, Philip. And thank you for the team for all the hard work. Well, thank you, Philip, for asking questions. Because if you don't ask questions, we'd be sitting here. You'd be sitting here staring at me. I'd be staring at you. Actually, I'd be staring at me too, which is weird. Any tease of the upcoming? I already hit that one. I hit that nail on the head, I think. Anyway. Hey, Kevin, a few really, really small beans. Jesus, already hit that one. Any news about pineapple? Pineapple. Right now, I think that's a bit on pause for us, mainly because there was a bit of a misunderstanding about who does what. And I think for them to be successful, you know, we as an exchange, we can help them create that asset. We can custody that asset. We can create a market for that asset. But there's a lot of things they need to do. And I don't want them to rush into it with us, because rushing into it, I think, won't make it a success. And so we're a bit at odds there. We're still talking. But cannabis on chain is coming some way, shape, or form to CoinMetro. Again, BizDev is a bit slowed down until Q1, Q2 next year, but we're definitely going to be talking about it, whether it's Pineapple or someone else. No, that's not Remo. Doesn't even look like Remo, actually. But you probably haven't seen Remo. No, it's not Remo. It's the guy's Estonian, though. I'll give you a hint. Hi, Kevin. Looking slick. Thanks, Potato Bill Gates. Will CADX be listed on CoinMetro? And when? Nice to see WKDA. I think we probably will support CADX, absolutely. As to when, I would say it would have to be in line with or shortly after the CADX launch. Did CoinMetro make any new key hires this week? We made new hires, that's for sure. Customer support, compliance, maybe something else. I don't remember. Everybody here is key. I should point that out. Think of CoinMetro as, you ever do that little thing in elementary school when you got the keystone? It's like, get all these rocks, they form an arch, and if you pull the keystone out, it all crumbles. But you can also pull out almost any other one, and it also crumbles. So yeah, that's CoinMetro. So I think everybody here plays a vital role. So they're all key hires. So yeah, we made a few. Turn it off. Don't even know what that's from. Sorry. How come XCM price is not rising? Uros. So it's because you're selling, bro. Okay. It's really a puzzle to me at this point. If each one of the new signers bought like 100 XCM, we'd be devouring the sell book. Yeah, well, you know, you have to understand that we haven't been the best at saying how great XCM is. I mean, I do it here every week. I'm playing my part, for fuck's sake. No, but collectively at CoinMetro, we haven't been the best. And, you know, we just now got that XCM page out after a billion years. And we have a lot of things planned about the XCM story, the narrative, what it is, what it does. And that's going to help. After, you know, normally a client's journey into CoinMetro is they come in for something, whether it's, you know, they heard about Kadena, they heard about something, they saw some Reddit post, whatever it is. They come in for something specific, then they get into the community, and then eventually they buy XCM. I had given stats last year about kind of 70% of CoinMetro clients owning XCM. I haven't checked the percentage, but in looking at some of that data, people don't buy XCM on day 1 usually, or even day 30, sometimes not even by day 60. So it's a process. And historically, we haven't been the best about promoting XCM. We're getting better at it, and we're going to be really good at it coming up in the short term. That's going to change things. We're also going to add into those tokenomics. I'll spill a little bit of beans on tokenomics. certain aspects of the tokenomics that will require people to buy small amounts of XCM to be able to do certain things, gain access to certain things, aside from just staking and the reward system, et cetera. So all this stuff is going to help that, exactly what you're talking about, come to fruition. Any news about VXV project? VXV, which is their baskets. Well, in order for us to provide that service on the exchange, we need a specific type of licensing, which we are going after starting in January of this coming year. But that's going to take upwards of a year, if not slightly more. It depends on how many questions are back and forth to the regulator for us to acquire. So it's nothing we have on the short term. It's going to be a year from now when we start to be able to have the ability to launch something like those baskets. What do you think about Parsec's focus on BSC and Solana with IQ? As someone who had a lot of PRQ on Ethereum, I really dislike they dropped IQ for ETH. No way I will keep funds on BSC long term. Yeah, yes, but maybe. I guess that's kind of my answer to your question. Yeah, but maybe. I mean, look, there is. I was just looking at numbers today. Ethereum still holds 65% of the locked on chain DeFi market. Binance Chain is number 2 with 10%. Solana's after them with like 6 or something like that, 6-7%. I forget what it was. Point is Ethereum's still the king. Now, Ethereum is expensive. We all know that. Is that stopping people from using it so much? Not really. For whatever reason, it is still the king. And I have a lot of ideas as to why, and I've shared those on the show before. I think they definitely made a business decision. I think they went after BSC first because one of the Binance incubators invested in them. And I think they were hoping that by going down the Binance route, they would be quicker to a Binance listing. I think they then went with Solana for reasons that they probably had a connection with the Solana team. Solana is very centralized. So they had a connection with the Solana team. And just like we like to work closely with businesses, so do they. So they went with Solana. I think leaving out Ethereum is probably a business mistake because Ethereum is fucking massive. It is massive, comparatively speaking, to either of those two chains. And to be honest, I don't see BSC becoming the market leader. Solana may have a chance to be market leader in certain segments. And some pieces of finance might actually be those segments. Why? There are places, there are businesses in finance that need centralized solutions. So, maybe. But I do think it was a business mistake. I would have probably focused on Ethereum if it was me, but it's not me. They may have made the right decision. Time will tell. I do think eventually they're going to have to support ETH. They're not going to have a choice. I'm sure they had their reasons, and they were probably very good ones for supporting BSC and Solana. So I wouldn't hold funds on BSC for my worst enemy, because I do not believe in how Binance runs their business. I do not believe in how they treat their customers. I do not believe they're doing right by anyone who uses their services. And that's why I just wouldn't touch BSC, but you probably have some similar reasons. So there you go. Are there any IEOs on the horizon? Internet trash can? Nope, not currently. No IEOs or similar type things on the horizon. What was the reason CoinMetro listed Flux? Can you tell us about what you like about them? Sure. So I think their wallet, their decentralized wallet, is probably the main reason why we looked at Flux as an asset. So Zelcore has a pretty interesting setup, something that is unique in some ways, in many ways maybe. Their team is highly dedicated. They are passionate, and they are getting things done. The fact that many wallet systems are centralized in nature, the fact that wallets make it difficult to interact, some wallets are directly tied to exchanges, which means they might have an agenda, etc. There were many aspects about Zelcore we liked, and that's what led us down the path to Flux. Hi, Kevin. I appreciate all the CoinMetro does and want to thank you for always being transparent and meeting the marks you set up. Like the Rapid KD8. Well, thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. Is a license needed to run a public TRAM? Good question. It depends. The way things are set up, you are trading essentially your account and people are copying your trades. So in that aspect, in most jurisdictions of the world, you do not need a license. However, there may be jurisdictions around the world that still consider that to be giving advice. Copy trading in some jurisdictions is still considered to be giving advice and thus may require some form of licensing. Are you hesitant to market XCM in case it might be seen as a security? No, I've never really been hesitant in that aspect. Before the product launched, absolutely, because that would have failed the Howey test left, right, center, and, you know, around the circle. Sorry. But now, no, there's a time and place for everything. I had a conversation with an investor about 6 months ago, and he said, you know, I would really like to see this, and that at CoinMetro before I make an investment. And I agreed with him. I said, you're 100% correct. But there's a time and place for everything. Timing is a big thing. A company needs a lot of things. That doesn't mean they need all of them on day one. It doesn't mean they need all of them on day 15, year 2, year 6, etc. If you mapped out everything your company needs to be a global success on day 1, you would spend all your money in a nanosecond and have nothing left. Oh, and you would slow everything down. You wouldn't be able to move as quick. You wouldn't be able to make decisions as fast. Decisions that need to be made fast because you need to move a bit loose in the beginning so you can get shit done. At some point, though, there needs to be more structure. You get to a point where if you did what you did on day 1, on days 361, you'd probably fail. But if you did what you did, if you operate how you operate on day 768 on day 1, you'd also fail. And so this is how I see that. It's not about that we're scared to market XCM or that there's some regulatory. There's obviously a way you need to market a token to not fall into problems, but that's not really the case. The case is that there's a time and place. And I know everybody, including myself, would love to see XCM at higher prices right now. But what I want is a healthy market. I want a healthy market that can sustain higher prices. We saw what happened earlier this year. XCM hit a high about 70 cents and then trailed back down. Why? Is it because XCM wasn't worth 70 cents? No, not at all. At the time, it was still worth more than 70 cents. It should be worth more than 70 cents. And now it should be worth 3-4 times that much. The issue is that we didn't establish the market enough. And that's not just about making the book thicker. That's about making sure people know what XCM is, they understand the value, more value built in, et cetera. And those things we're working on, and we've been working on, and we're getting better and better at. The time and place to really push XCM is really close to now. We're not exactly there yet. We literally have a project in-house called Project XCM. Sounds like an Amazon show where people wear clothing and walk on runways. The point is that we've been working on this for a long time, and we want to do it right. And we're very close to that point where everything comes together. Do you get a thought? I do want to do a thought AMA. I don't think it's been set up yet. We've been talking with them about other things. I think AMA in December is probably likely. Any sign of those physical XCM coins? Dude, I see them every day in the office. Just unfortunately, no one's been able to get down to mail those suckers. Christmas is coming though. Maybe somebody's gonna load up their Santa bag. I'm gonna see what we can do about that. Any possibility to add Algorand? Unpopular opinion. I'm not the biggest Algorand fan. I met Silvio in South Korea, and I didn't know enough not to like or dislike them. After I met Silvio, I didn't like them. Simple as that. I thought if this is the guy, this is the mouthpiece, I don't really want to see anything else. And maybe that they have a foundation, they're doing their thing. I'm not a big fan. Now that makes me being a fan doesn't make any difference to what we list. That's just my opinion. I figure I give it to you because this is my show and I guess I can do what I want. Algorand though is, it's growing. It probably will be on our list at some point. I haven't seen it on our list yet. When are we getting grid bots? Could really improve liquidity. Yeah. I would not recommend trading a grid strategy in any market. Yeah, you're right. It could potentially improve liquidity, but it's also the gateway to getting wrecked. Grids and martingales with grids and other grid strategies never stand the test of time. So I'm not a big fan. I wouldn't recommend anybody use them either. With the rise of XCM price, at what point is lowering the amount of XCM needed to get a tier necessary, if ever? It will be. I think the tiers will just be reimagined or like moved around a bit, basically. So I think we're probably close right now. 50,000 XCM obviously is costing about 20,000 euro. So that's a fairly high amount. I think 25,000 euro is probably the highest I would like to see that go. Obviously, it doesn't mean as soon as XCM crosses that threshold to make that price a reality, we would immediately lower it. But I think that's probably as far as it should go, and we'll have to reimagine those tiers. I think we probably will add tiers as well in the coming future. Many exchanges break down when there's a huge surge of volume, like during the final mania phase of the market cycle. Can we rely on CoinMetro to stay online and execute our trades? Hey, CDOs. Well, many exchanges don't break down. They just stop allowing orders to come through and blame it on whatever, because they're either fractionally reserved, meaning they're selling a bunch of assets they don't have, or they simply are taking on too much risk because they're trading in their own book and they stop. We do not trade in our own book. We never trade against our clients. We do not take positions against clients. We never have, and we never will. So that doesn't dismiss the possibility of the infrastructure we sit on going down because of massive amounts of traffic. That can happen. We do currently have enough resources to go probably 10 times our current high volume, but there can be circumstances where things can fall offline. It can happen, but what I can guarantee you is our system will never go offline because we push it offline on purpose, because we're losing money against our clients. Never going to happen at CoinMetro. You speak about wanting passive income on all assets. Do you have a rough ordering of what you want to pursue this, gems first or ETH stables? I don't have an ordering. I think there's two recent listings, relatively recent, that offer some form of passive income that we're going to go after probably first. Once we do that, IQ protocol is something maybe in Q1 22, if Tom Timmerman's prediction is correct. When that would mean we potentially could have two different vehicles that are already there creating passive income that could allow us to create passive income streams on other assets. We will also be linking up with another custodian towards the beginning of next year, which will allow us to gain access to passive income on majors. So that's kind of the list. It's not 100%, but that's more or less what we're looking at in the short term. Hi, Kevin. Excited about your exchange, but verification, big problem. Why so slow? Hey, Simply Fruit Germany. Simply Fruit Germany. Right on. Simply Fruit. I don't know. I just got stuck on that name. Excited about your exchange. Verification, I wouldn't say is a big problem. Thousands of people go through it almost on a daily basis. Why so slow? Well, we do have automation, but automation isn't going to catch every single submission, because if your submission isn't perfect or completely annihilated, then it's not going to catch that submission. Look, we just have a lot of people joining right now. We do things the right way, right? And the right way means we protect the business. We also protect you as a client. The worst thing you would want to happen when you're on a regulated exchange or an unregulated one is that regulator comes in, knocks on the door, decides there's something wrong with the institution and freezes funds, locks the company out of their accounts, puts them into receivership. That includes, blockchain-based accounts at custodians or wherever. And then you're sitting for years waiting to get your money back, i.e. something like Mt. Gox, for example. We don't want that to happen. And to make sure that doesn't happen, we are thorough. We are diligent. That doesn't mean that we don't like to put customer experience first. There's always a balance between risk and, how fast we can move you guys through. We've gotten much better at it. We still need to get better. If you have, if you're stuck on verification, if you've submitted once or twice and you're still having an issue, contact our support. They're there 24/7. It's something that definitely separates us from every other exchange on the planet. You have somebody to talk to. They can actually answer your question. They can then escalate the problem and somebody can take a look. And if you're in Telegram, you can always tag me at Kevin Murcko and I can take a look as well. Doesn't mean I'll be the quickest to take a look, but you can always come to me as well. Is Flux parallel asset reward nodes taken into consideration when staking? Are Flux parallel asset rewards? Yes, they are. There was just a snapshot in October. I believe those assets are paid out in January, if I'm not mistaken. Any insight into the ZK rollups party that's about to start? No, not at all. Sorry. No answer to that one. You are such a good, smart guy. Well, I'm glad I'm a good, smart guy, not a bad, smart guy. I don't know what the difference would be, but all right. Yeah, sorry, natives. Is there a way to move staked KDA to the K address? Do you mean moving assets that you've already staked onto a K address? Well, assets that are staked are sitting in one, one or more, money more because it's 50K per bonded node. So can you say what would be the reason that you'd want that to happen? You can definitely withdraw and deposit into K addresses, and when you cancel or that plan expires, you'll be able to move your addresses out, or addresses. You move your KDA out to a K address. If that's your question. Excited about your exchange? Okay, already answered that one. Any comment on the acquisition of Encryptgen? I don't really have any information there. It kind of came out of the blue like it did for everybody. Congratulations, though, to David. I'm going to reach out to David at some point, probably in the next 2 weeks, to talk about staking as well. I think they have a native staking program they want to bring onto CoinMetro. But yeah, I don't know much, so I can't really say much. I know about as much as you guys do. What is your opinion on DAOs and the threat they pose to regular, good old businesses like CoinMetro? Well, look, decentralized autonomous organizations have been around a while now. I know we've gotten a bit of PR around them, a bit of push around them because of the constitutional DAO. They're not a threat to regular business. They are currently an option that's probably not an option for the vast majority of businesses. It's an option for a very small subset of businesses that should grow over time. I think it's going to take time for governments to understand how they can work with, and work around, especially when it comes to AML and all these different things, when they have decentralized autonomous organizations, how that's going to work. I don't see it as a threat in any way. I see it as there's a lot of good that could do, but it's going to take a long time for that good to actually be something that most companies can take advantage of. So definitely don't see it as a threat. I think, right, like many things in crypto, many things in finance, many things in tech, it's very nuanced right now, which means it's not a threat to anybody. And I think rather than looking at it as a threat, you want to look at it as something that can benefit a lot of people, but there needs to be a lot more thought gone into exactly how they're going to interact with legacy systems and how legacy systems need to change to actually be able to support these types of organizations. Will there be a sale on CoinMetro merch? Black Friday sale. That's a good question. I guess there's probably a way to do that. I'll take a look, actually. That's a good point. That's a good point. We'll take a look. When Qredo will able to stake. Don't know, actually. Can't tell you a specific date on when you'll be able to stake Qredo, but it will, like I said, we want to be able to stake all assets on the exchange. So coming soon. Good morning, Kevin. Any thoughts on Marlin protocol and or the importance of layer 0 technology in general? Can't say I haven't done enough research to be able to give you an educated opinion. I think the term layer 0 is relatively gimmicky. I think there is a massive importance that we need to create protocols, especially when moving money, that don't involve the need to create multiple layers in order to service a growing demand. I'll leave it at that. Will there be a chance to convert small assets? Yep, we do plan on having a dust converter. That's actually something that's been discussed a million times. It's not a high priority, but it will come at some point. You're probably looking at end of Q1, early Q2 for that. Can CM have multiple fiat currency account? Well, in one account, you can hold multiple fiat currencies. So I'm not sure why you would need multiple accounts. New CoinMetro customer here. Can you list CADX when it's first released? We are looking to list CADX. Absolutely. It is on a short list. Do I need KYC? You absolutely need KYC. We are a regulated platform. We need to know who you are so that we can better protect our company and you as a client. The majority of us cannot see the pros of Kadena in practice. We only hear about it. Can you tell us a few details of your experience with this blockchain? Well, sure. Kadena is proof of work, so it's not proof of stake. What's the difference? Well, there's many differences. The biggest difference here is that proof of work, if you ask most security-minded individuals, people that are working in cybersecurity, etc., they will tell you that proof of work is more secure. Also, proof of stake basically says if you own more, you control more, and you get more. That's kind of the system we've been working away from, right? That's what we want to work away from, right? Where we centralize power. So proof of work, it's built on proof of work. It can scale out to infinity amount of parallel chains. What that means is as soon as one maxes out and transaction costs start to go higher because of demand, next chain is used, and the next chain, the next chain, the next chain, the next chain. All those chains do not really increase the footprint that's needed in terms of the power resources that are needed to provide services to that proof of work chain. So it is much more viable in terms of being green than say Bitcoin or other proof of works. It is layer one. Then it's a scalable layer one. Right now, you can move assets on Kadena instantaneously, near instantaneously, for a fraction of a cent. And you probably won't see that rise all that much. If it rose to $1, it would mean massive amounts of throughput, meaning we'd probably already be outscaling what Ethereum can do right now by leaps and bounds, and still keep those transaction fees much, much lower. So it's about scale, it's about security. So it's solving the security issue, the scalability issue, throughput issue, cost issue, solving all of those. And those are the major issues that people complain about all the time about Ethereum, and they're right. Thank you for answering that one. Are you going to pick up a bag of Vesper? I might. That was introduced to me by our COO. And after having conversation with Jordan from Vesper on one of an NAMA we did last week or the week before, it was last week, wasn't it? Jesus, I think it was last week. My days just kind of meld together. I don't even know what today is. I know it's Friday only because I'm doing this. If not, I might think it's Wednesday or Saturday. I don't know. So I might. I haven't yet, but I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. Will CM have more TRAM trader and have good performance? Obviously, we want to. Will we? Well, that's a question I can't answer. Do we want to have them, and are we looking to have them? Absolutely. Do I think we will? Absolutely. No. Forex, I don't think so. We will have physically deliverable FX, meaning you can go between euros and US dollars or pounds and euros so that you can interact with other pairs. Sure. Stocks, no. I see no reason. I see no reason to have a platform. In the beginning, I got to be honest with you, back in the white paper days, I thought, multi-asset makes sense. Now, however, with what's happened in crypto in the last 10 years, collectively, and especially what's happened in the last 4 years, I don't see any reason to mix the two. I simply don't. I see a big reason to create tokenized shares and equity that do much better than traditional. I don't see any reason why someone needs to buy Tesla stock on CoinMetro. I don't see it. CFDs in crypto, yes. Futures and options, absolutely. That's why we're going after the licensing next year. Hey, Kevin, are there any interesting projects right now worth investing? Well, yeah, look at what we listed. Everything we list, everything we list, most of the things we list, we have listed things simply because they've been asked to be listed, and we've listed things because they're majors, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. But things we've listed like Qredo, like Thought, like Quant, like Parsec, like Kadena, like Flux. We've listed them because we treat listings like a VC would treat an investment. If we believe that, and Vesper, for example, if we look at something and we believe it's investment worthy, then we list it. And investment worthy doesn't necessarily mean we think it's going to go 1,000x in 3 days. Investment worthy means we believe the company has a future, and thus we believe that the underlying asset has a future. Will there be a Qredo AMA? Yeah, actually, that one is coming early December, already in the books. Do I keep hitting the desk? Oh, sorry. No, seriously. Sorry about that. I guess my mic's picking up some reverberation. It's an exciting day today. I got my Kevin astronaut sweatshirt on. Don't know how to contain myself. Oh, maybe someone is at the door. Maybe I'm deaf. I don't know. Thanks, Oliver, though, for letting me know. Hey, Kev, have you bought any Qredo yet? Not yet, but will soon. Ollie, what have you done? Now I've started paying attention to it. Sorry. I'm not going to do that anymore. Sorry about that. Any plans on giving use cases for XCM outside of CoinMetro exchange? I think they're plans. Immediate, no, but eventually this is inevitable. So whether it's because of merchant services or similar, there will be use cases outside of CoinMetro at some point. What do you think about some of the new upcoming chains? I mentioned before, that there's going to be a protocol war. We're kind of in the midst of the starting of the protocol war now. There's going to be lots of protocols do lots of the same things. And we're going to have to decide collectively as a market which ones we think are the ones that will succeed. It's not always the best that succeed. You can see that in other forms of technology. Beta versus VHS. Beta was better, VHS won. HD DVD versus Blu-ray. HD DVD could hold more on a smaller space, also higher quality video, it lost. So that might only be technology related, but we can go down the path on banking as well. There's been many challenger banks opened up by banks, for example, that have failed. There's been many institutions that have tried to better settlements, that tried to better, that have failed. Doesn't mean that were bad. It just means sometimes the market didn't like them. So I don't really have any opinion about a lot of these guys. I think they're all barking up the same tree, and they need to figure out which branch of that tree they want to bark up. Because if they all bark up the same branches, they're all going to fail. Simple as that. And what I mean by that is they need to find a niche, their specific industries that they want to tackle them. No thoughts on Avalanche. Haven't really looked at it. Nope. OHM. Yeah, I haven't heard of that one, Robin. You can definitely, things like this, tag me in Telegram. I'll take a look, then I'll give you an opinion. Yo, boss man. I guess that's me. What price will PRQ be in January 2022, you think? I think Parsec has a long way to go in terms of new and higher price discovery. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think it'll happen before January 22. I wouldn't worry about, oh God, the bull run's going to end and I'm going to have to wait 4 years. I don't necessarily believe in that either. With Parsec, I think standardizing and expanding IQ protocol, and if that's going to happen in Q1, that's going to be a nice catalyst for them to be able to see higher pricing probably through Q1, Q2 next year. KYC and CoinMetro is a drag. Camera thing, want me to close my eyes, but it didn't work with glasses. Please fix it. Well, yeah. You're asked to take your glasses off and then put them back on. Reason why is that we need to get facial recognition, and glasses can throw that off, especially if you're wearing certain types of glasses. We know that there are some issues. Not everybody has those issues. Some people do, some people don't. We also know that sometimes camera in browser, depending on what camera you have, what phone you have, what browser you have, can be a bad experience. It's a small minority, but we know it's there. Native KYC is coming. We've been working on it for months. It's coming very, very soon. I would say that if you continue to have issues, get in touch with support, see if they can help you out. I'm sure you'll get through it. Most people do. Even though there is a small minority that tend to have issues, it could be device, not blaming your device, but it could simply be, that the device's browser camera plugin is just shit. And that's why native is so much better. We're getting there. We're almost there. It's going to launch within the next couple of weeks. Many thanks for answering all questions. Appreciate you guys for asking them. If you don't ask, I can't answer. So Ignium depend on CoinMetro? No. Ignium and CoinMetro, while we do work together, neither of us depend on the other company's success. Anyone know what time he talks about Qredo? I can't answer that one, but maybe somebody will get to. I did talk about them for sure. Good morning, Kev. Will CM ever consider offering a wallet where we can store other assets? I don't know if we're going to get down the wallet provider rabbit hole, but I do think we will support NFTs at some point in the future. Oh, shit, I can ask questions here. Yep. Hi, Kev. Do you think the crypto market is at the mercy of the stock market still? I see no good reason for this pullback other than the stock market. Well, I'll tell you, look, remember that crypto is irrational, much more irrational than stocks. Today's Black Friday, everybody. The same people that FOMO into Bitcoin, FOMO hard into Dogecoin, buy things called like Moon Stratosphere coin, cum rocket for fuck's sake. People that buy these things and FOMO into these assets are the same people that will see an ad today that says, come buy this laptop for $199 on Black Friday. There's only 6 in the whole store. Those dudes will camp outside of that store at 4 a.m. and then liquefy their crypto portfolios and then find out that there's actually no $199 laptop and FOMO themselves into a $1,700 one with all their crypto profits. So Black Friday absolutely is one reason why you're seeing some retesting of some recent support or resistance. Stock market probably similar, but not so much. Understand that retail guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. So if somebody farts in Nebraska and they catch wind of it in Idaho, they will sell. That's it. There's no other easier way to describe it. If 3 Japanese guys build a teepee in Montana and it falls over and catches on fire, there's 4 assholes in Miami selling their Bitcoin. That is how irrational this market is. That's always how irrational it's been. As we get more institutional, the irrationality will fall a little bit. But institutions love that retail is irrational because they can manipulate the fuck out of the market and make more money. So I wouldn't necessarily correlate this with the stock market, but I would correlate it with people looking. Somebody's sitting at home right now looking at Bloomberg and it goes, stocks are down 16% since last Friday or whatever. And he's going, oh shit, that means my cum rocket's going to go down. That's seriously. That's what he said. That's what he's thinking. And he logged into Binance and sold. That's it. Simple as that. Then he went on Reddit and said, the crash is imminent, everybody. I'm an analyst for Bloomberg and I know. And then someone said, you're not really an analyst. Prove it, bro. And then he was like, bro, I'm such an analyst, bro. And then somebody else said, he's an analyst, bro. And that's the conversation. And somehow Bitcoin falls by 5%. Sounds crazy, but I guarantee you every single one of those things probably happened. Or not, maybe not exactly, but something like it. Date stamps on blog posts. Yep, we've heard that one before. We are looking into it. Not the biggest thing on the roadmap, but we are looking into it. Thanks, man. Appreciate that, JC. What's the highest XCM estimated price would be in the future? Can't answer that question, man. That's an irrational question. To be honest, I don't know what the highest price could possibly be. To be honest, if inflation continues as it will for the next couple of years, and people and our governments want to tell us that some new crazy disease is going to make us lose our limbs or whatever, then XCM could be worth a fucking billion. But I have no idea. All I will tell you is that if we do things like we have been, we continue to doing the things the right way, we continue to be treating our clients like the way we do, sky's the limit. Any plans on making it possible to transfer funds to Ignium? That's already possible. Just get on Ignium's chat, ask them to transfer funds, give them the information they're going to ask for. It'll be processed. Takes between 24 and 72 hours. Have you looked into Metis? I haven't. I'm not going to read the rest of this question because I want to get to the last few. Sorry. Hi, Kev. Is CoinMetro going to support the DAC AEU directive? What's your opinion on the directive? That's actually a really good question, but off the top of my head, I don't know what that directive is. Is that crowdfunding? Is that the crowdfunding directive? If it is, absolutely. Sorry, I don't know my directives off the top of my head, but I think that's the crowdfunding directive. If it is, absolutely we are. Okay. Most crowdfunding companies started from CM and transferred to Ignium. Ignium won't depend. No, as I said, no correlation whatsoever. Anything new coming out of vector space? That's a question for vector space. I don't know. How do you think inflation will correlate with the crypto market? If crypto is what we think it is, higher prices on crypto. It's a good test, actually. How can I transfer to CoinMetro from another SEX without paying huge fees? Well, you can use an asset that charges less money. Don't use ETH. You can transfer funds potentially in XLM, XRP. Depends. Just don't use ETH. You save some money. Okay, Daki. Okay. So being able to do that is simplistic. Just pulling data. If it's passed and we are forced to do this, then absolutely we can comply. Wouldn't be a fan of it, however, for many reasons. I think forcing private entities to do the tax authorities' work is bullshit. There's a reason why we pay taxes. It's to support the government. They have lots of money. They have lots of ways to do things. They shouldn't need our help. Two, the other side of that would simply be that it causes a lot of burden on companies, and it puts obligations and onerous on companies that should be the government's obligations. But again, it's not hard to comply with. If we had to, well, not hard to do. Marketing is lots of stuff happening in marketing. As I said, you're going to see a few snippets here or there towards the end of the year with a major change coming early next year. Still on tap for that. So lots of things happening, lots of conversations between our agency that we're doing business with, outside consultancy, and internally as well. Instead of long-term value, how about XCM's current intrinsic value in your opinion? I think the current value of XCM, considering all the intrinsic value, all the utility, and not to mention the current value of the company based on metrics since we did our last fundraise, in conjunction with what we actually need to support the tokenomics now and in the future, I think current value should sit somewhere around probably, I think market cap should probably be somewhere in the realm of 360 million. So that puts us at what, 120, 140, something like that. Awesome, man. Thanks for that, Oliver. KDA staking still return early. That's what we know. That could change, but that's a Kadena question. Also, people already having stakes sharing Kadena on CMSEX or only for new people. No, when it opens up for everybody. All right, everybody. I got to the last question. I think we're cool. I'm a little bit over as well, and I got other stuff to do today, unfortunately, except talking to you guys. So I'm going to leave it there. Have a great weekend, everybody. Spend time with friends and family. If you can't do it physically, do it virtually. Either way, if it's physical or virtual, make sure you show off that real big tattoo that all of you got that said XCM is the future. Buy at www.coinmetro.com. If you haven't gotten your tattoo yet, by the way, you shouldn't even been in the chat today. So make sure you go out tonight drunk and get your XCM tattoo so that tomorrow when you're visiting physically or virtually with your family, you rip your shirt off. Or you put it on your back if you want, a butt cheek. I don't know. You pick where you want it. Just make sure it's visible enough and make sure you flash your family. Flash them long enough so they can read it. It's going to be a bit awkward, but trust me, it's worth it. Have a great weekend, everybody. You can always tag me on Telegram if I didn't get to your question, or if you have another one, that's at Kevin Murcko. You can also tweet me at Kevin Murcko, and I will tweet you back. Tweet. Have a great weekend. Talk to you guys here next week. At you, I guess. I don't know. Talk with you, at you. Thanks for the questions, and see you guys next week. Awesome.